The way I planned for 2025 was very different than any other year, but it was also my most successful ever. And therefore, I want to break down to you exactly how I did it so that you can have the same success for 2026. Step one, understand the consequences. Without being really aware of what the consequences are, if you don't achieve that goal, you will never be able to actually pursue it for a meaningful enough time. We as human beings are simply wired to avoid turmoil, to avoid mistakes, or to avoid any type of bad experience. And so if you were to consider why we put ourselves through the rigor of, let's say, a really hard workout, or let's say studying for 10 plus hours, it's not because we want to study for 10 plus hours. It's because if we fail that class, that consequence feels so strongly to us that we want to avoid it at all costs. If we're thinking about business and why do I spend 70 plus hours to try and make this business work, it's not because I enjoy those 70 plus hours. It's because the consequence of it failing and the consequence of our employees losing their jobs, or let's say the impact that we want to leave not being met, that consequence drives more of that action. So oftentimes when we have a goal, we immediately try to visualize what it would be like to win. And although important, what if you visualize what it would be like to lose? Think about how much stronger that visualization is. And yes, it will make you feel very uncomfortable in the moment to sit in, but it's imperative if you actually want to have massive success. So I go back to even when I was in my high school days, my college days, and I was really struggling because there was so much work being poured into academics, to my sports, to my business, to my different hobbies, to my relationships, and through all of the personal development that I was already going through, that there were many moments that I wanted to quit. But then when I thought about why was I doing it, and I thought about what would happen if I didn't have the success, then I would consider my dad not necessarily having someone to support him. Think about my parents having to grow old and still having to work and having to fight all the time about money. That scared me very much so, to the point that that became an anchor. And so when you understand the consequence, it makes it very real for you. And that is where I had started for 2025's planning. And step two actually is the next bridge to that, which is simply you have to list out all of your no's. Consider what are your greatest temptations. I don't mean you have to have 20 plus, maybe you only have a few. And I'll go back to exactly my own. When I was again through that college year experience for about 2-3 years, I knew that to go through a long season of being alone, but not necessarily being lonely. In fact, I had a really great time because my greatest temptations growing up was to fit in. My greatest temptations was to try and overcompensate by going out all the time, to going ahead and getting in trouble, to try and to show off, and to be at every single one of those parties. And for me, that was my temptation, being socially inept. I was constantly somebody that had dealt with peer pressure and failed underneath that pressure all the time. And so for me, my big no for about 3 years was I'm not going to go out to those parties. And people think that that's extreme, but you have to have your no's. If you're going to lead a life of freedom, you have to be disciplined first. And sometimes the best possible action that you can take is just removing yourself from that temptation altogether. Step three, we will be focusing on 4 wins. If you've been on my page for any given time throughout the last 6 years, you know that I have what is called the June's 4 wins. Every single day for the better parts of 7 years, I've been doing a mental, a physical, a spiritual, and an accountability win. A mental win simply means learning a new skill. Ultimately, that tends to increase our earning potential. Then we have a physical win, simply to move our bodies, to condition our bodies, and that gives us longevity. A spiritual win is simply connecting deeply with our purpose and to actually spend time reflecting on that, and that gives us direction in our lives. Or the 4th win would be to have an accountability win. This is to ensure that you're staying on track. So for me, that is journaling. For you, it could be a tracker, a template of any kind, whatever works best for you. Some people have those really large calendars in their living rooms that they've sent me photos of and tagged me in their stories for. So whatever works for you is totally fine. Every single one of the great accomplishments that you want for 2026 will fit under the umbrella of those 4 wins. I can guarantee it. But the reason why I don't just have 1 win or 2 wins is because I truly believe in order for you to be a successful human being, you can't let go of any one of those pillars. They all need to stay firm. And if you can do that, you become somebody that has a really large repertoire. And also in addition, you have what is called wholeness of success. And I really do believe a lot of my fulfillment comes through that process. It means that no matter what goes on in my day-to-day life, no matter what type of distraction may occur, I know the inputs that I have. And so remember what I said in terms of listing out your no's. Every no is a deeper yes to things that you really really want. These 4 pillars are what you really, really want. Step 4, you have to create realistic standards. I often find people overlook this part and they immediately shoot for the moon. But if you're somebody that has never gone to the gym before, don't have your New Year's resolutions read that you want to go to the gym 7 times out of a week. You're going to come out in the new year with a lot of motivation, and that's going to tempt you to set a very high standard. However, when you then go into month 3, your motivation dies down and you have other distractions or other priorities in your life that you start to think, okay, well, if I can't go to the gym 7 times out of the week, I might as well not go at all, right? If I go 3 times or 4 times a week, I'm just going to feel so bad about myself. I'm going to feel miserable. I'm going to feel so guilty. When in reality, those 3 times or 4 times that you're going is significantly more than you went the year before. But this goes and applies to every space in our lives. When I think about business and everyone thinks, oh, how did you earn $3 million in your first 9 months of creative college? I never really had in my brain to hit $3 million because I never hit that type of money in that duration of time. For me, what was the immediate, let's say, goal or anchor or let's say barometer for success? And for me, it was, can I have my very first $300,000 month, right? So for me, that meant that we're pouring into our team to ensure that could happen. And as we're executing, okay, here, as we consistently hit that number, is there anything that we can start to push in terms of that barometer? It starts off with an understanding that you have to have these barometers for success that are achievable, that are sustainable, and that actually gives you a much more consistent and steadfast mental throughout the process. So whatever goals that you have in your life right now, just choose 2026 as your springboard. It doesn't have to be you hitting the clouds right away. It can simply be you taking one step in the right direction. When you do that and you start making these micro adjustments or micro progresses, you start to do 2 things that are incredibly powerful. You build momentum in the positive direction, and number 2, you build confidence because you've actually stuck to your commitment. So I really encourage you, whatever goal you have, yes, you can have an overarching goal for yourself in many years for the future to come. But right now, it's the thought process behind what would actually push us in the right direction. Find that first goal, find that first number, find that first metric, and that is what I want you to have as your initial goal post. Step 5, my favorite part, grow obsessed. When I say grow obsessed, I mean every single part of your life, your media consumption especially, should be centered around this thing. So let me give you an example. For me, this upcoming year, I want to be a better boxer. I boxed for a very minimal amount of time, but that's when I felt like I was in my best shape. So now that I moved to a different city in South Carolina, I haven't been able to find a gym really at all. I've just been doing a lot of home workouts, and I want to find a boxing gym and get more involved in it. And so I made that commitment to myself for 2026, and therefore, guess what I've done? 1, I started to subscribe and also follow a lot of boxing accounts, and my entire TikTok For You page, Instagram Reel Explore page, in addition to my YouTube homepage, are all boxing contents, right? There's even a Korean show right now called I Am Boxer, and I am watching that as well. And in addition to the fact that I've signed up now to this boxing gym to go on a frequent basis this upcoming year, to even the music I listen to, I searched up on Spotify immediately boxing playlists, and now that's all I listen to. This is what it means to become obsessed. And that's why I really do think it's so important that we protect our time, knowing that, of course, we want to say yes to everything and we want to have all these different opportunities at our disposal, but we as human beings are finite. We don't have an unlimited amount of time nor energy. So if we can choose certain things to be obsessed over, we have a really good chance of actually making progress towards. So in the year of 2026, it's centered around my relationship with my girlfriend. It's centered around this boxing. It's centered around myself and Creative College and being a better leader, being a better co-founder there. And really, when I look at that, and of course, all my personal development goals in regards to my spiritual, my connection with God, if you were to put that on a platter, those are my obsessions. Like, I have to do those. But you see that I don't have 100 different things that I want to prioritize this upcoming year, because there's no way that I'm going to have good progress with split attention. That is how I planned for 2025 and had massive success, and that's how I'm ultimately going to be planning for 2026. And I want you to find that recipe for yourself, whether it's a conjunction of what I've done with some of the areas that you have seen work for yourself, or if it's literally just my own template. I want you to win, and hopefully this is a really good informational way for you to get started. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, and of course, subscribe. I love you guys so much. Happy holidays, happy new year, and I will see you all at the top.